Hi. I remember the first time she mentioned him. His name was Tyler. She laughed as she said it, tossing her phone on the couch beside me, screen glowing with his message. He's like a brother to me, she said casually, sipping her wine, eyes flicking back to the TV. I nodded. I didn't even ask. Why would I? Her tone was light, affectionate, dismissive even. That was over a year ago. At first, it was little things. They texted a lot, sure, but it wasn't constant. He lived in another city back then, Portland, I think. He was a childhood friend, the kind you grew up with on the same block, shared bikes and secrets with. She told me stories once, how they got caught sneaking into a pool one summer, how he cried when her dad died, how they stayed in touch through college. Their friendship predated us by over a decade. I wanted to respect that. I wanted to be the kind of husband who didn't get jealous, didn't pry. I believe trust was a choice you made every day, not just a feeling. And for a while, I was okay. I was fine. But something shifted the day he moved back. It wasn't just the frequency of their hangouts. It was her energy before she saw him. The way she'd change clothes 3 times before dinner. The way she'd hum getting ready, smile at nothing. I noticed, but I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be that guy, the paranoid, insecure husband. I held my breath and told myself, she loves you. She married you. It's nothing. The first time I met him, I shook his hand and tried not to measure his grip. He was taller than I expected, broad-shouldered, good-looking in that rugged, effortless way. Wore an old flannel shirt with jeans like a uniform. I cracked a joke, something about finally meeting the famous Tyler. He grinned and said, "Man, I've heard so much about you." It sounded genuine. Maybe it was. He was polite. He offered to help with dishes after dinner. Asked about my work. Even complimented my vinyl collection like he really cared. If I hadn't known better, if I hadn't seen the way he looked at her when she wasn't watching, I might have liked him. There's a particular kind of glance that's hard to describe. It's not overt. It's not even inappropriate. It's just charged. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. He looked at her like he remembered things. Like he imagined more. Like he'd been waiting. I said nothing. I'm not sure when I started keeping track. Just mentally, not on paper. How many times they met in a week. How often she smiled at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. The little changes in how she responded to me. Shorter kisses, distracted nods, polite distance. Maybe I told myself I was imagining it because I wanted to believe it wasn't real. Then one Saturday, she asked if I minded her spending the afternoon with Tyler. He's going through something, she said, voice soft. Just needs to talk. Of course, I replied. Go. I watched her leave in jeans and a loose sweater that somehow made her look even more beautiful. She sprayed her usual perfume before walking out, the one she wore when we first met. I sat on the couch for hours, remote in hand, not watching anything. When she got home, she was quiet. Tired. Said they talked about his ex, said it was emotional. Then she leaned her head on my shoulder like nothing had changed, and I let her. I even held her hand. But something had changed. We began to drift, slowly. Like continents pulling apart. Nothing dramatic, just a quiet erosion. Less laughter. Fewer touches. More silence. The kind that fills a room like fog. Thick, cold, heavy. Then one evening, she told me Tyler was hosting a small get-together. Just a few friends, some drinks, nothing wild. She wanted me to come. I hesitated. Please, she asked gently. I want you to know him better. Maybe she believed that would help. Maybe she still thought she wasn't crossing a line. I don't know, but I said yes. It was a cozy apartment. Warm lighting, soft music, a mix of faces I didn't know. He greeted me like a friend. Big smile, pat on the back. She handed me a drink, kissed my cheek. For the first hour, everything was fine. Normal. Until it wasn't. It happened in a blink. I stepped out onto the small balcony to take a call from my brother. Nothing serious. When I came back, I stopped just short of the kitchen, where they stood talking. Too close. Her hand on his chest. His eyes locked on hers. And then, without hesitation, he leaned in and kissed her. On the mouth. It wasn't a peck. It wasn't an accident. It was intimate. Confident. Like it wasn't the first time. She didn't pull away. I didn't say anything. I didn't make a sound. I walked into the room, straight toward them. He turned first, startled. She stepped back as if caught in a dream. Her mouth parted, but no words came out. I extended my hand. To him. He looked confused, but he took it. I gripped it, firm but not aggressive. Looked him dead in the eyes, and said nothing. Then I let go. and walked out the door. That was the last time I saw either of them. The strange thing about betrayal, real betrayal, is how quiet it feels in your bones. Not loud, not hot, just hollow, like something got scooped out of you and you're still standing there, pretending you're whole. I remember walking down the stairs from Tyler's apartment, one hand still tingling from that handshake. That absurd handshake. I didn't rush. I didn't call anyone. I didn't throw my phone into the street or punch a wall or scream into the night sky like in the movies. I just walked. Block after block, I walked. I made it home without remembering the drive. I unlocked the front door like it was any other evening and stepped inside to the same couch, same lamp, same picture of us on the hallway wall. The one from last summer, at her cousin's wedding. Her head on my shoulder, our smiles still real. I took it down. I didn't break it. I just put it away. She didn't call that night. That almost hurt more than the kiss. The silence between us wasn't passive. It was a decision. And in that silence, I found clarity. I sat on the edge of our bed. No, my bed now. And started listing everything I had ignored. Not just the kiss, not just Tyler. Everything. I thought about the time she came home late, makeup smudged, saying she stayed out with friends, but wouldn't show me a single photo. I thought about her birthday last year, how she insisted on a girl's trip out of town, and when I surprised her with a call, she rushed to hang up. I thought about how, slowly, she stopped saying, "I love you" first, and how I let all of it slide. We'd been together 6 years, married for 3, and I wasn't perfect, far from it. I buried myself in work, told myself I was building something for us. I missed dinners, forgot anniversaries, got too comfortable, too predictable. Maybe I made her feel invisible. Maybe I stopped seeing her fully, the way Tyler clearly did. That's the brutal part of reflection. You see your own fingerprints on the cracks. But even so, even with all my flaws, I didn't deserve that. The next morning, she texted. Just one message. "Can we talk?" I stared at it for 10 minutes. Then another 10. Then I turned off my phone. I spent that Sunday moving through our home like a guest. I made coffee. I opened the windows. I cleaned the kitchen even though it wasn't messy. I sat on the porch and listened to the wind and thought, what now? By Monday, she came home. I was in the study when I heard the door open. Her steps were cautious, like she was walking into someone else's house. I didn't get up, just sat there, staring at the stack of unopened mail on the desk. "Hey," she said from the doorway. I looked at her. She looked smaller somehow, like someone had turned down her brightness. "I didn't know you were going to leave like that," she added. I didn't reply. She took a step closer. "Can I explain? Was there something unclear about what I saw?" I asked, and I didn't raise my voice. That part mattered to me. I needed to know that I could stay composed even as the foundation cracked beneath me. She hesitated. "It wasn't, he kissed me. I didn't mean for." "Stop." She did. "You didn't pull away." Her eyes filled, but I didn't feel moved by that. I felt tired. "I didn't cheat on you," she whispered. I tilted my head. "What would you call it then?" Her silence was an answer. "I trusted you," I said. "I trusted you with my life. And you gave me a story about some guy being like a brother while you stood there and let him kiss you like I didn't exist. I didn't want this to happen. That doesn't mean it didn't." She sat on the edge of the chair across from me, gripping the armrest like it might save her from drowning. "I think I fell out of love," she finally said. And just like that, the last remaining bit of me that had been holding on let go. "Then you should have told me," I said. "You should have said it before it came to this. Before you made me feel like a stranger in my own house. Before you let another man touch what you vowed to protect." She started crying. I didn't move. Because here's the thing no one tells you about moments like these. You expect them to hurt like fire, but they hurt like ice. Numb. Quiet. Final. I stood up. "I'll stay at a hotel for a few days. You can decide if you want to move out, or if you'd rather I do." She opened her mouth to speak, but I was already walking away. That night, I slept in a Holiday Inn 3 miles from our house. I didn't cry. I didn't drink. I just stared at the ceiling until the morning came. The bed felt foreign, but not as foreign as hers had felt for months. And in that strange, neutral room, with nothing but a suitcase and a key card, I started imagining a life without her. And for the first time, it didn't scare me. 3 weeks passed. She moved out on a Thursday. I wasn't there. That was on purpose. She texted to ask if I'd be home, and I said no. I didn't ask where she was going. I didn't want to know. I just didn't want to watch her touch our memories like they were just objects, Like the coffee table we built together meant nothing now that it belonged to someone else. When I came back that night, the silence hit different. Not the tense kind, not the grieving kind. Just empty. Like the house finally understood what had happened and decided not to echo anymore. She left her key on the kitchen counter. I stared at it for a while, then slid it into the drawer next to the scissors and old takeout menus. That felt right, somewhere forgettable. What surprised me most in those days wasn't the pain. It was how much of it had already happened before that kiss. The slow erosion, the 1,000 little absences. I hadn't just lost her that night. I'd been losing her long before. A week later, I ran into Tyler. It was at the bookstore downtown, the one with creaky floors and overpriced cappuccinos. I saw him before he saw me, standing in line with a tote bag slung over his shoulder like he belonged in a movie about misunderstood artists. I almost turned and walked out, but I didn't. He turned. Our eyes met, and in that moment, I could see the awkward recognition bloom across his face, the panic of someone who got away with something they're not sure they deserve. "Hey," he said cautiously. "Hey," I replied calm. He cleared his throat. I didn't expect to see you here." Clearly, he shifted his weight. "Look, man, I didn't plan for any of this to happen. It just happened." I nodded. "Right, like a brother." That landed. I saw the guilt flicker. "I'm sorry," he added. I believe he meant it. But that didn't matter. "Do you love her?" I asked. He blinked, caught off guard. "What? I'm not asking to make a scene. I just want to know. After everything, do you love her?" He paused. "I think so." "That's not the answer you give when you steal someone's wife," I said softly. He looked down. I stepped forward, not threatening, just closer. "You two will probably try to make it work. Maybe you'll even succeed. But know this, you didn't win. You just stepped into a house someone else built and took the keys after the foundation cracked." Then I offered my hand. He hesitated, confused. But he took it. And like before, I shook his hand, gave him one nod, and walked away. For good. I didn't look back. Months passed. Then a year. There were hard days, sure. The first time I heard our song in a grocery store, I had to step outside. The holidays felt like moving through fog. Mutual friends drifted. Some reached out, awkwardly, unsure which side to take. I told them not to worry. I wasn't keeping score. I just wanted peace. And I found it. Not all at once, but gradually. I started running again. I traveled. I painted our bedroom a new color. I got a dog. Small things that added up to a life she wouldn't recognize, and one I was proud of. One night, nearly a year to the day after I left Tyler's apartment, I found an old photo in my sock drawer. Us at the beach. Her in that red dress, wind in her hair, laughing like the world had only just begun. I didn't cry. I didn't burn it. I just tucked it into an envelope, wrote the words "thank you" on the front, and placed it at the bottom of a box in the garage marked "past." Because the truth is, some stories don't need a final conversation. Sometimes the real goodbye happens the moment you stop needing to be understood. When you choose peace over closure. When you realize walking away is the loudest thing you'll ever say. She told me he was like a brother. He kissed her on the mouth. And I shook his hand, smiled, and walked away, for good. Bye-bye.